What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash that like button. Also subscribe to the channel. Now, this is a follow-up video to a video I did yesterday. That video was entitled Terence Crawford may face premier boxing champions fighter in December per Bob Arum. Did that less than a day ago, 18 hours ago. And again, make sure you guys subscribe. Now, I got to file this under the Ego rumor mill because all the particulars and everything haven't come to fruition officially, but I do think it is going to be the truth, and I think Crawford is going to fight John Molina Jr. Now, there's a couple indications that are pointing to this. For one, when I did this video yesterday with Terence Crawford, my dude John Molina responded, so obviously it went over to my Twitter account when I did the video, and then John Molina Jr., I think he dropped a little hint to me. Boxing Ego, great video as always, very simple. So I do believe this is in fact going to happen, but obviously for the sake of being professional, when contracts aren't finalized and hasn't been made official, he can't just throw information out there because this is how they get paid, you know what I mean, these fighters. So you don't want anything to chance that, you know what I mean, by like blabbermouthing something and Crawford gets mad or this side gets, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. So I think this is a little hint of what's to come, and it looks like it's going to be the case, December 10th. Now, my thing is this. A lot of people are going to bag on the fight like, oh, John Molina, he lost to Adrian Broner. And like, I'm okay with the fight for a few reasons. One, it's a last minute fight in terms of December 10th has been a date that it's like hot potato. December 10th was initially Canelo's date. He got a hand injury. Then it was Golovkin versus Jacob. So it was Golovkin's date, right? Then they couldn't get that deal together, purse bid, and now they're saying 2017. So Bob Arum said, hey, HBO got a date. I want Terence Crawford to come back. So he wasn't even supposed to come back this year. Terence Crawford was, if you look at the previous interviews and reports, he was supposed to sit out for the remainder of the year because HBO has budget cuts. And their two biggest stars on HBO, Canelo and Triple G, were supposed to fight. So there were no available dates for Terence Crawford, who bounced back, well, not bounced back, but beat Victor Postal and looked good in that fight, right? So this is kind of a last minute thing. A lot of people in boxing, they're not realistic. Like, oh, why can't we get Broner versus Terence Crawford? That's a great fight, but guess what? Showtime just unveiled their schedule. Broner's already fighting Adrian Granados. Danny Garcia's already fighting Samuel Vargas, and then the contracts are done for him to fight against Keith Thurman in March. So you got to be realistic. Some people even said Felix Diaz, and I was one of the people. I'm like, okay, Felix Diaz, that's a good scrap. I want to see that. But I told you guys in that video I did yesterday with Terence Crawford, he has a hometown fight where he's from in the Dominican Republic, Punta Canas or wherever, and he's not. It doesn't look like he's going to be available, right? He's from Santo Domingo, and here it is. Here's his box rec. He's fighting December 10th in the DR, right? So he couldn't fight Crawford because he already has an opponent. I forgot the name. It says TBA, but I'm pretty sure they have an opponent. But either way, Crawford's not going to, as a champion with all the belts, not going to go to DR to fight Felix Diaz, even though I was up for that fight. So John Molina, I think he was in line for a big fight. You got to look at it. John Molina is coming off the Ruslan-Provodnikov fight. He doesn't want to sit on the shelf. He's like, oh, that's a good win for me. This brought me back. You know what I'm saying? So he's ready. He wants to fight. And he was kind of screwed over by the Danny Garcia situation. Berto was supposed to fight Danny Garcia, and then it was Samuel Vargas that was selected. But they had been talking to John Molina, and I do know that for a fact, and all of a sudden they went with another option, and he got kind of stepped over. So I'm okay with him getting a fight in lieu of everything that's happened. They're both off of wins, and John Molina, he's pretty big size-wise. He's pretty big for the division of 140. He's tall. He's a puncher, and not too long ago, people were talking and entertaining the idea of Ruslan-Provodnikov versus John Molina Jr. And Ruslan just lost to John Molina Jr. and he was actually contemplating retiring after that loss. Like, man, I lost this fight and I just don't got it. So John Molina Jr. he's good. He's scrappy. He has power, And you really think about it. Look at the people he's losing to. Like in recent memory, he lost to Lucas Matisse, who was, you know what I mean, Lucas is good. He can crack, right? He lost to Lucas Matisse in a war. He knocked Lucas Matisse down 2 times. He lost to DeMarco. I thought that was kind of a premature stoppage. He lost to Adrian Broner. Broner looked good in that fight, to be honest. And I didn't like John Molina's game plan in that particular fight. I thought he should have just went balls to the wall. But you look at it, John Molina, he's a pretty big dude. That's Tommy the Hitman Hearns and Lamont Peterson and Danny Garcia. And John Molina, look at his height and stuff. He looks pretty big. But I mean, realistically, a lot of people are gonna feel the type of way. But if you were okay with Ruslan Provodnikov fighting against Terence Crawford, why couldn't the guy who beat him fight him? You know what I mean? Which is John Molina. And again, he has power, big for the division. It's going to be an uphill battle because Terence Crawford is that good. Terence Crawford is a damn good fighter. You know what I'm saying? So John Molina, he has a new training situation, so he's going to have to bring out the best. He can't have any lapses like the Broner fight. But I mean, it is what it is, last minute fight. A lot of people want these spectacular mega fights that just aren't realistic. Either guys are tied up, or if you look at it like, oh, Terence Crawford versus Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia already has a title shot, but even if he didn't, why would you want a fight like that with only 1 month, Terence Crawford versus Mikey Garcia, and you only got like about a month and a couple of days to plan for it? You know what I mean? A month and a week. It doesn't make sense. This was something they were able to get put together, so let's see it. John Molina, like I said, he's tough. His losses are to good names, and he's big for the division. And most importantly, I'll close with this. This particular fight is the first fight where you see Al Haymon and Bob Arum working together, where they're not forced to work together. What I mean by that is sometimes there's situations where you'll see like a purse bid situation, and Haymon will work with K2 because Dominique Wade is Golovkin's mandatory. So they kind of have to, you know what I mean? Otherwise, Wade will lose his mandatory positioning and stuff like that. So this is the first time Arum and Haymon are working together basically on their own merit, you know what I mean, on their own free will. And I love this because this is Terence Crawford, which is one of the top fighters, right? And an Al Haymon fighter. So it has to start somewhere. So I'm okay with this. And again, I really like the fact that they're working together, because this stipulates some other great matches could happen. Some other great matches really could happen if they're willing to put this together. Like they have this outing with Crawford and John Molina Jr., which is, in my opinion, it's a low-level fight, easy to put together. Not low level in terms of quality, but low level in terms of John Molina. I don't think he's gonna be in this, like, it's not like a Canelo Triple G situation where everyone's the A side and, oh, I want this and my name has to be first. It's something easy to put together where Crawford, I haven't really seen him do too much diva stuff either. They can put it together, see how it works, and, you know what I mean, mend that relationship that was torn for so long during the Cold War. So once again, I'm okay with it. We'll see how Crawford's chin is, because Molina has power, right? We'll get to see that. And a lot of times there's these fights that you don't really expect that turn out to be much better than expected. To be honest, and John Molina's my dude, but I thought Lucas Matisse, I was like, man, he's gonna just destroy him, because if I'm not mistaken, that was Molina's first fight at 140. You know what I mean? I didn't realize how big he was for 140, but he was moving up, I believe, from 35. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Matisse, even though he lost to Danny Garcia, he's gonna destroy him. And he ended up getting the stoppage, but it was a lot more competitive than I thought. You look at fights like Sammy Vasquez and Felix Diaz, a lot of people didn't think that was gonna be anything special, and that was a in the trenches dog fight. You look at Keith Thurman, Luis Collazo, people wrote Collazo off, and out of all the people, Collazo looked like he had the best chance to even stop him, to stop Keith Thurman, in my opinion. So sometimes you got to watch out for it. Like, there's Berto. I mean, John Molina looks pretty big. He looks bigger than welterweights if you think about it. Another guy who just moved up to welterweight. John Molina's pretty big, so I'm okay with it. And again, I like what it embodies, which is it's a warrior style who just beat Ruslan Provodnikov, and it means that Top Rank and Al Haymon are working to mend their relationship. So I'm all for that. Drop it in the comment section, share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.